Hello, I'm Stephen Monkey Mason, and I'm once again joined by Paul Ray and Mr. Carl, and this is a brand new series we're doing. Well, not a general, but like a series of movies, and they are the Indiana Jones movies, starting with Raiders of the Lost Ark. Hello, guys. Alright, are you guys ready to play?
Ready to rumble?
Now, before this starts recording and playing, Paul Ray's probably going to jump miles ahead of us because he's watching it on Sky. I'm watching it on DVD. What's Carl watching it on?
Hey, I'm watching on DVD as well.
Alright, so Paul Ray will be into the future, the all-seeing eye of the Oracle. Right, so I'm pressing play on 3, 2, 1, boop. Now, one thing they've done, I haven't seen the fourth one at the moment. I have seen it, but I'm ready to watch it. The fact that they use the Paramount and always dissolve into something. They've done it across the first three for definite. That to the mountain, it's the gong on the second one, and then it's one of the Utah desert things at the other one as well. So I always like that.
Yeah, I like when companies do like Universal do it. Yeah, Paramount don't really do that much these days, do it? But yeah, no, especially for 1981.
Well, it's quite a way, isn't it? Because if you think about Steven Spielberg, he's synonymous with Universal, and George Lucas is phenomenal with Fox, and this is made by Paramount. You know what I mean? It's one of the ones where come to us and do what you want kind of movie.
I think they just want a bit more freedom, and go with something completely different. Even the casting of Harrison Ford, they didn't want Harrison Ford, did they? They wanted
Tom Selleck
and stuff like that.
Well, they wanted Tom Selleck, wasn't he? But he couldn't get out of his contract,
because basically he didn't want Harrison Ford to be typecast as George Lucas's star all the time.
Yeah.
Well, this is it, because you had American Graffiti and you had Star Wars. But the thing is, though, this is the one thing I love about Harrison Ford, is the fact that he was a bit of an underdog in his earlier career. You know, it seemed to be that, you know, whenever his name popped up, despite the fact that he got the roles, it often became a thing of, do we not need like a proper actor? You know what I mean? And like, obviously, look at his career now. You know, you couldn't imagine Indiana Jones as anybody else.
No, you can't. No. I tell you something I don't like. I do not like the font in this.
Nah, it's a bit weird.
And like Frank Marshall as well. Well, they actually go back to it. I'm actually, I'm about 3/4 of the way through Last Crusade, just before this podcast started, and they went back to that font in that film, and then in the second one they go absolutely loud and proud with that Indiana Jones font when she's like the whole ballroom thing at the start.
Yeah. I think because the class is just one film, really, they didn't realise it's going to be like a series of films, and obviously Temple of Doom is actually set a few years before Raiders of the Lost Ark, so it's more of a prequel to this.
Yeah.
Well, I think again, I remember seeing Temple of Doom as a kid and being quite terrified of it, and obviously lived up the hype of like the new one coming out. But I always thought Temple of Doom was before that because I didn't. But then, as you said, it's a prequel. But then it's not really clear it's a prequel, though, is it?
The date at the start of the film is like 1934 or something like that.
Yeah, it does, but I feel like given the time that it was done, people weren't really like looking at that kind of detail. I can't imagine like that many people like watching that film going, so this is beforehand. They would have just seen it as a date, and it would have been like later on in the film where you would have realised. But I would laugh. I think that's fucking George Lucas. I know it's not him, but at the same time, I was like, dude can never do things in order. But for me, it was always, for the longest time, Temple of Doom always seemed to be my favourite. But then, I don't know about you, but it always seemed to me that was the only one that was ever shown on telly. And then maybe later on, we got a lot more of The Last Crusade. This one's the one I've probably seen the least. Yeah, I'm going to go out on an early limb and say it's maybe my favourite of the three.
Well, I just talked about him there because he doesn't survive long. Alfred there. He's went on to be quite famous.
Doc Ock.
Doc Ock.
The best Spider-Man film ever.
No,
I'm gonna say like the intro of Indiana Jones, where his face is covered in the shadow, then it goes to like a light, so you can actually see him for the first time. I think that's really, really good as an introduction to the character.
Now this is some of Disney's hold off slapping on it. That's Paramount. Sorry, I'll shut up.
It's one of those awkward things, like I said the other day. It's Lucasfilm, but it's like distributed by Paramount, the same as the Star Wars like prequels and the original trilogy. There'll be some rights in the future where they can actually put them on both streaming or whatever for Lucasfilm.
I think they've already. Said that Indiana Jones is going to Disney Plus. It's just a matter of I think maybe next year or something like that. I remember reading an article about it not that long ago.
Yeah.
And they are saying that it will be going to Disney Plus, but then obviously.
Well, the big thing about it is obviously this.
That freaked me out. I'm not like one of those people who are terrified of spiders, but it's like I don't know. It's like the abundance of them. Like I couldn't handle that. Like.
I was going to say there's a lot of talk at the moment, obviously, about another Indiana Jones coming.
Yeah, they've been saying it for years, but...
Is his name being thrown about a bit?
Who?
Chris Pratt?
No, it's still Harrison Ford. It's just meant to be a different director.
Yeah, Spielberg's
I'm sorry. I wasn't including that one because I figured that was obviously the obvious one. I think so. I wouldn't be surprised if they throw in maybe the way they did it with Shia LaBeouf in the last one. Maybe he's obviously a bit better than the Crystal Skull. Like obviously, knowing Disney, they're gonna want to like set it up themselves. So if they do another one, because I don't know how far they're really getting into post like storytelling stuff like that. Have they really the actual story written?
There's an outline for treatment, but. I'll be able to see it.
It's still under Fox, so is it? So is that not going to likely get done?
No, it comes under Disney, Lucasfilm. Anything that Lucasfilm makes now is Disney.
Right. See, I would have imagined all the talk was done before they bought them out, though. So surely, Disney might be like, well, we haven't been in this conversation, so...
They probably just canned the script and just did their own, like they did with the Star Wars films.
Yeah,
Mostly, but obviously Indiana Jones is more of like a going back to the original 1930s action films, isn't it? That's what I wanted, like a serial, and there's so many different action scenes in here taken from other films.
Oh,
I tell you,
it was like the same with that's the way. I mean, I would always say that was probably, in my opinion, what George Lucas kind of threw in there. Because that was a lot of what he wanted to do, especially with Star Wars. Like, it was all about like Flash Gordon and stuff like that. So it was like kind of Saturday morning serials and stuff like that. So I think this would actually work quite well as not a reboot, but as a continuation if they did it well.
Well, that's it. I mean, Harrison Ford's been up for revisiting Blade Runner finally, and then obviously Star Wars. So he's not out of the realm of doing stuff. But again, how do you, if you keep Harrison Ford in any kind of new ones, how do you make it Indiana Jones and continue?
Yeah, well, this is it. I mean, that's why I think it's got to be done well, because I know that's like an easy cop out to say like everything must be done well. But to me, it's like it would have to be pretty good, because the continuation of the adventure and stuff like that. I mean, there's only so much you can do, especially in the modern era as well. Whereas now I feel like there's a lot you can get away with in this era, the way they filmed it, because, you know, there is no technology, you know, there's no kind of there's no cop-out in this day and age where like most people sit there and go, oh, well, I can just go on my laptop and scan a temple or, you know, stuff like that. So I'd like to see it kept in its age.
Well, that's what we're talking about. It's like, it's a kind of why Peter Jackson set the remake of King Kong in that era, because it's like an era of last scrap. There's a lot of reverb coming from one of you guys.
Not me, I'm sitting here.
Has anyone got the telly on?
I thought it was you.
Hold on a minute. I haven't, but it might be some music that not my music, but like, I've just
I thought it was you and you.
if that's improved.
There comes the boulder. Dun dun dun. Going back to there, Alfred's has had a really bad death. That did not look very well.
Nah.
Beware.
I love that. That's kind of like the nostalgic side for what I love about it. You know, like it didn't really look like them, did it? You know, not really. But at the end of the day, I'd still rather have that practical dummy than, you know, something like more technology-wise.
The thing about these films is so like not violent, but there's so many dead bodies and bones and people's heads getting cut off and hearts ripped out and stuff, isn't it? For PGs.
Oh, it feels like a real world, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, it's was it Temple of Doom or was it Raiders of the Lost Ark or Temple of Doom and Gremlins that made the 15?
It's Temple of Doom. The PG-13, yeah.
He's got an original pop vinyl there. Like, check this pop vinyl out, it's massive.
That's what he does.
I remember playing the video game on the Xbox, the original. Like, there've been a few video games, but like they haven't really had a running franchise. I mean, Tomb Raider is essentially an Indiana Jones clone, isn't it? Lara Croft.
Just sexier.
Oh, just sexier by far.
Hey, how dare you? I wasn't bored of the sexy man.
Sorry, it's 2021. I forgot.
Yeah.
I remember playing the Super Indiana Jones trilogy. I loved that game. It was so hard.
I don't know what platform I played it on now. It might have been. It wouldn't have been Amiga. It was cassette. So what would that have been?
Probably Spectrum.
Commodore. Spectrum.
Commodore
That's the one.
64.
Because my auntie had a news agent, and literally she had a corner dedicated to renting games out. So we used to go there like every other weekend just to like help ourselves and take them home. And I remember getting Indiana Jones. It was like a side scroller, and it was interesting. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't like necessarily, you know, it was a character with a Ferrera and a bullwhip. You know, it wasn't necessarily video games today where it's like, this is definitely Indiana Jones.
So, Carl, would you survive the Oberyn Temple? Do you know?
I reckon. Now, I'm not saying I've been in a situation with a massive boulder, but there was a situation where we were playing on hay bales, and there was this, and I don't know why I remember this, but there was a situation where we were all being chased by the farmer, and there was like almost kind of like a little hole the way he jumps out before the boulder hits him, like that in the fence. And I remember most of my mates not really like getting through it, and I just jumped head first and I made it clean. So at the moment, yeah, I would say I've survived so far, but I mean, I don't do well with heights, so I'm not saying I'll be too handy with the playing scene.
What about the snake?
I don't mind snakes. We had 2 snakes when I was growing up, so to be honest with you, it wouldn't bother me. I mean, don't get me wrong, there weren't that kind of snake, and the chances are that snake might actually kill us. But in theory, I'd like to think I'd be alright. I'd play cool.
Now, what do you think about John Williams' score? Absolutely amazing for Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
It's up there, definitely. Iconic.
Definitely. It's one of those things you can put on and just listen all the way through, and you know it is scene by scene. I mean, where this intro is, where this outro is, what happens in this bit, what happens in that bit.
I actually got the vinyl of it for £8, you know, and it's a double vinyl. It's boulder colour. It was on a mad, crazy deal on a website one day. Like, free delivery and everything. I went, fucking hell. So,
It's mental that. I think I looked and it was like 34 quid before they bring it down. I remember that a few years ago.
Now that bloke who just walked in, he's been in a bunch of stuff, hasn't he?
Isn't it Denham Elliott? I think that's his name. I forgot what his name is now.
he's the butler in Trading Places.
Is that right?
Hi.
There again, yeah, that's it.
Now,
Denham Elliott, yeah.
One of those faces.
Now, one thing I think's a massive loss, and fair enough you're saying that Temple of Doom is a prequel to this. Short Round, like, he is absolutely class in Indiana Jones. And he's just a great little sidekick, but, like, from not to appearing anymore, bless him.
Well, it's like they were kind of going like the James Bond thing, where every film would be different and have a different female. I mean, like a Bond girl kind of thing. That's all.
Total sex pest.
Yeah,
isn't it?
Just like, just before it moves on too quickly, can we just like pay a tribute to how much effort that lass must have gone through to fucking draw on her eyelids?
Mason does all the time at work.
It's just, I don't know, I just find, I'm trying to imagine, I mean, there's looking in a mirror, so there's having to do it back to front, then it's having to do it with one eye open. I like to think she earns a bit of prop there. Now, interestingly, I know we do this a lot, so I'm going to bring it up a bit earlier because I'm quite impressed. What do you think the budget is on this film?
It's not loads, is it?
Nah.
12.
What do you reckon, Mason?
20 at the max.
20 max. It's 18 million. That's the estimate, and that's fucking brilliant for this film. And the fact of the matter is, like, this made tons of money. Like this, for that budget, I mean, you want to take a guess on how much it made worldwide?
120.
120, what about you, Miss?
Oh yeah, about 100 I would say.
389. Almost 390.
Because it's one of those things you have to remember how much like cinema tickets cost in them days, don't you?
Well, that thing you would think would be low though, with that fact. You know, cinema tickets were a lot less, so $389,925,971.
So today's money is probably like what, 900, something like that, 600.
I would say so. But definitely beating fucking Avatar.
Have you seen that King Kong versus Godzilla is on Amazon Prime on the 1st of April?
Is that right?
Mhm.
1st of April.
To rent.
I was going to say it won't be like Justice League. You'll have to pay for it, like. But
That's not. As I say, there's a lot going on in here. Like the TV show went on to be very, very popular, and even Harrison Ford appears in that. But like, he's just like this kind of adventurer. He's almost like a fucking superhero. School teacher by day, explorer by night.
To make money for the museum.
well, listen, he would. I mean, I think the closest we're probably getting to this would be, like for the modern era, would be Nicolas Cage, isn't it? National Treasure.
Yeah, and unfortunately, obviously, they didn't do a number 3. He went off to do that Sources Apprentices, and they never really got back to it because that was.
But you say that, apparently there's something on a desk somewhere. Someone was talking about it because they were talking about potentially taking it to Disney Plus, and then there was also talk about like reworking the script into a series rather than a third film. But I don't know if that's because maybe I still think you would knock it out of the park, but whether Nicolas Cage's stock is worth as much as he used to be.
Are you guys up to the bit where they're talking about the stuff of Raw and stuff like that?
Oh, they're still having a bit of a chat, looking at some paperwork in the room. Yeah.
That's Hawkins from Star Wars again.
It is, Jesus, man.
That and Batman.
And he's seen in a fair bit, that man, isn't he? You think of Hawkins, but no, he's one of the...
Oh fucking hell! Is that the guy who gets shot? No, it's not. I don't know. I'm not a Star Wars fan.
He's the one gets killed.
He definitely blew up, so you're close.
Yeah.
Is he the one who's the crooked copper?
In what? In Batman.
Aye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The dodgy copper. Going back to this film, you can tell it's a George Lucas film because it's so religious. It's unbelievable. If you were watching this film without all the action, it'd just be all religious stuff, wouldn't it? Yeah, throw a little bit of action in to get you, bums and seat.
Well, it's almost like
Yeah,
it's not myth of bunking, but it's kind of like all these things are real, and it's just like, do you know what I mean? It's quite a lot to go into, isn't it?
the Bible is real, actually. Jesus is real.
I've actually know that. I've got the Bible in the house. Remember?
So that? Trying to get a new one, but they've sold out everywhere. Yeah, so basically, obviously it's the Nazis also. Can you make a film these days with Nazis as enemies?
Well, yeah, of course you can.
Don't get me wrong, like, I'm not sure Nazis, like, but if everything that ever goes wrong in movies now, there's a fucking link to Nazis doing it. Like.
Nazis were zombies.
It's like, spoiler alert, there was a Nazi scene in the Justice League cut, the Snyder cut. That was pretty stupid. Yeah, always the Nazis. Bless them. Well, not them, but the poor Germans.
So obviously you got this one about the Lost Ark of Covenant, and then you got the third one, which is a Holy Grail. So from religious films.
Well, the Temple of Doom's more religious, but it's some other god they're worshipping. There's a lot of religion there. It's just a different kind of cult, isn't it?
Well, Temple of Doom is fortune and glory, really, isn't it? Fortune and glory, kid. Fortune and glory.
It doesn't.
Well,
it does.
That's what that's what threw us away from like the crystal skull. I don't know what it was, but it was just the fact that like
there's no Nazis in it.
This all feels real, and it's like this could really happen, or there's like artifacts out there that state certain things, but then as soon as you start talking about aliens, it's just like nah.
But apparently the fourth one was an idea Lucas had before Independence Day came out, so he just scrapped it for a little bit.
Right.
And how bad does Indiana Jones pack a suitcase? He just throws things in a suitcase.
That's it.
Oh, he's interesting down.
It does look noir, but it doesn't look Roger Rabbit noir because it's the kind of same era, isn't it?
Well,
yeah, well, to say it's like what it's supposed to be.
yes, part.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying the noir look for the time period of it.
Yeah. Time period.
I would say it's just past noir. There's still a lot like the suits and the talk is still there, but I think it's just slightly modern.
A creepy ass bad guy appearing.
Yeah. He's on airplane now, he is.
Yeah, he's just got in the airplane.
He got his hat on yet to go to sleep.
Yeah, it's just fading in to the good old fashioned globe trekking. You know, the red marker going down the Pacific there.
That's like me when I'm on the bus, having Indiana Jones music on. When I'm travelling.
Boing.
It is, yeah, it is. It is like an old fashioned like 1930s serial movie with this bit.
I think, you know, I remember that video game for the Xbox and quite enjoying it, but they didn't make any more after that, I don't think. I think it was one of those games...
The video games don't normally sell that well, despite how good some of them are. Like, Uncharted is the best you'll get if you wanted to play an Indiana.
Oh, yeah, they're fucking mint then, yeah. I mean, that'll be the next one. Because that's Tom Holland, isn't it? He's going to be Drake, isn't he? Nathan Drake.
You seen what he said, though?
What?
I think his publishers kind of kicked him in the arse one of these days. So given his reputation, he's been given a lot of roles lately. And the fact that he's notorious for spoilers for when he's in the MCU. This time round, the film's not even due out for ages yet. And he put out a massive interview saying that he let himself down because he was too much in his head about trying to look good in scenes rather than playing the character. And he was too busy saying his words were, I was too busy thinking, is this a scene where I'm going to look really good, or do I use that scene and this, that and the other? So I was like, that's a really bizarre thing to say when the film's not even due out yet. You're already kind of throwing out negative spells like that. So it wouldn't have been my first pick for Nathan Drake by a mile, but I don't know, it's good.
Can you guys imagine this on Disney Plus? Scenes of drink, gambling.
Aye, Disney Plus is not all squeaky clean, you know.
Yeah, I know. I used to think Karen Allen was Margot Kidder from Superman when I was a kid.
I can see that. Like, I feel like they would look like the maybe related, like cousins or something like that. He's got a very canny look to it.
That silhouette of Harrison Ford is so iconic. You can put that on the wall anywhere, and people will go, "Who's that? Indiana Jones?" Like they had the hat on.
Yeah.
The thing about these films, well, especially this film, yeah, Strong Woman. This is like 1981. You know what I mean? Like a woman who can actually look after herself.
They've always been that way. Don't get me wrong, some stories do lend themselves to having a damsel in distress. But it always annoys me when people sit there and go, "Oh yeah, women don't get strong roles." They've been getting them for fucking years.
Just think about it. That's it, yeah. I mean, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, she survives it. Halloween survives it. This is the 70s we're talking about.
The Shining.
Again, going back to Margot Kidder, look after yourself. I mean, Superman. Aliens, Ripley. I mean, this is the 70s and this is the 80s, so yeah, it's right.
I mean, through the entire Star Wars series, like Princess Leia is like literally putting Harrison Ford down every second she gets, because guess what? She's confident and she's badass. It's like, I don't know what to say, it always gets me. Don't get me wrong though, because there are elements of it where it's an era stereotype, not so much a personal stereotype. So, for example, George Lucas could never get away with the fact that he insisted on Carrie Fisher wearing a gold bikini. You know what I mean? Because let's be honest with you, sex sells, and she was quite a popular character at the time. So why not put her in a gold bikini? You know, as sexist as it may be, you know, it was kind of the time and the era. It's where you can't really get away with blaming like films like that were filmed 20, 30 years ago and say, "Oh, you shouldn't do that now." So, well, no.
Yeah, I mean, go back to Karen Allen. The only films I've seen ever was Scrooged, this, obviously the Fourth Indiana Jones, and Starman. That's the only films I remember.
Because they say she's probably done a fair few things, but she's not one that pops into my head a lot. So let's have a look. I've got her on the screen.
So when was the first time you seen this film, Carl or Mason?
I think for me was.
For me, I didn't really at the cinema. Obviously, being the younger person, but I would say TV. I don't think I've seen them on VHS until much later on.
Yeah.
I mean, I personally remember the hype when it came out on DVD. I mean, there's the VHS. Again, talking about what I've said this before about the future, and like now, like Indiana Jones, it's always a box set. If you were trying to collect them individually, you would struggle to get them now.
Yeah.
It's something that's sold as a collection rather than.
Well, I mean, they've just announced the 4K collection, so that's all coming out.
I think that announcement the other time is what set it up. Because obviously I thought Jaws was going to be our next podcast series, but we'll go for Indiana as well. Because I know you guys, there's a lot of Star Wars references in these games, isn't there?
C-3PO in this and R2-D2 in here somewhere.
Obi-Wan Kenobi nightclub as well, isn't it? And the second one.
Yeah, the Obi-Wan nightclub. It's all connected.
Jack Daniels there.
Is he one of the extras, is he?
Oh, just a bottle on the bar.
In that light, the bad guy there, the glasses, he looks a lot like, what do you call him from RoboCop?
What? Kurt Wood Smith? Is that his name?
Is that his name? Aye. Just in a light there, you kind of thought, that could have been him, that.
He's got a freaky German accent.
Is that someone at your door?
Yeah.
Can Paul come out and play? What's going on with that guy's eyelids and the fucking camera there?
I didn't spot it.
Have we got a special
Yes,
guest
I
here
know.
on this podcast?
I hope it's a pizza guy, but it's not. I remember when I had the VHS box set, it was like the widescreen edition. I was like in the cardboard kind of slip, and had a making of Raiders of the Lost Ark, and all of this took weeks to synchronize all this fight scenes, with squibs and stuff like that on the wall and all the scenes to action it. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
What is with that guy's eyelids? Has he got eyelids added on to make him look more Asian? The guy who's on
I'm
fire.
looking at him trying to figure it out, but no, I want to say that's just the way he is, man.
He's just got a really weird upper eyelid. You know what I mean? What's going on there?
Well, just check when he gets shot in the head.
You totally think she's gonna like blow a fire at him here, taking him that banana. She's just a drunk. There's a lot of physical humour in these movies.
Yeah. Whiskey. I look when he says that when he's in the bar. I'm sure Ben Burtt did the sound also, from Star Wars. I'm sure he did the sound, the punching and the fire noise and stuff like that.
Right.
Because the punches, proper footy on there.
I was going to say that almost like Adam West Batman, in that you might one
they're like
so they would have had power on the screen.
They're like a Rocky IV.
Oh, definitely. That was always my favourite when I used to hear about that, how they had to take out the noises that the guys would make when they were punching each other. Just alone would be actually doing the noises of it, stuff like that. It's just don't get me wrong, I think I'd do that, if you're pretending to the fight.
That's your breathing though, isn't it?
Right?
If you're boxing like that, sometimes it could be your breathing as well, you know what I mean?
Yeah, aye.
See, the guy's got shot in the head, the other guy got shot in the back. The guy's just been burnt with his hand, you know what I mean? It's bloody hell.
I mean, if this was released now, it'd be a 12.
This is, Mason, you must be loving this, all this real fire.
Oh, yeah, but what was I watching the other day? I think it might have been Whiteout. I was like, look at that CGI and that fire, it looks fucking shit. But I will say this though, as this series goes on, especially in Temple of Doom, when they literally get out the side of the cliff and the water comes flying out, that looks fucking terrible. There's some blue screen in this that has not aged well,
Yeah, we'll get on that in the next film. I know a little bit about that one.
I can remember stuff, but I couldn't be able to tell you that sort of stuff off the top of my head.
Right, this guy here, John Ray Davis, right? He comes back for the third one. I think he's actually in James Bond, maybes. But he is in a movie called Double O Kid with Corey Haim. And I was watching it and I didn't know what the fuck I was looking at. So you've got Cash Pot, who's the guy the guy who plays Rex in Toy Story. He's dead smalls and he looks like Casper. He's got that quirky little voice.
Right.
So he goes into this room and he's getting right, and he gets in this car, right, and it's sort of like what is it? Italian Job, and he's going around the streets and he's meant to be driving. He's in this car and he's too big for it. And when he has a crash, he gets impacted by thin air. And I was like, what the fuck just happened there? And every time it cuts to him, his car is all fucked up. And then next thing you know, the car just flips upside down and kills him. I was like, what the fuck's going on with this movie? But I'm sure he was in James. He looks like he could be in James Bond. That's for sure.
John Rhys Davies. Yeah, he'd probably be.
He's in Lord of the Rings, apparently.
Because he was supposed to be, with the second Newcastle Comic Con he was supposed to be at, and he was one of the ones that cancelled, sadly.
He does Grimly's voice in Lord of the Rings films.
He is Gimli.
Is he? I
Aye.
thought someone else. Huh?
He also does the trees of the Ents as well. The trees of the Ents. The voice of the trees. No, John Rhys Davies is Gimli.
No, it just is. Oh yeah, no, it's weird that. I'm just checking his IMDb.
Was it because he's a dwarf? Did you assume that it wasn't him because it was a dwarf?
No, Aquaman.
Yes, it was.
He's in a film called Kilimanjaro because I've got the VHS of that because the artwork's absolute bitching on the front cover. Bitching front
I've heard
cover.
that one for a long time. Is that you with your American friends again?
Oh God.
America.
That's a proper American thing to say, though, isn't it? Bitching. You'll be saying cowabunga next.
That's a Turtles. That's not American. It's Turtles.
That's surfer dude, isn't it? Radical, man.
Them laundry baskets they're carrying around, right? They must be fucking massive because I've got one of them from Kenya and I couldn't get in it, and she hides in one of them later on. So they must be fucking deceivingly more bigger than expected. The fucking even the monkey's a Nazi, man. I mean, come on, what's going on there?
It does a salute and everything, doesn't he?
I'd totally have a monkey as a pet, like, if it was allowed.
No.
Nappies on.
Oh, absolutely. You gotta give him some dignity.
It'd be throwing his feces everywhere in your house, Carl. There'd be feces on the wall, feces on the floor,
What's the taglines for this then?
feces on the floor.
Taglines. Oh, I don't know. Let's see, have a look. Taglines. We do have. How many do we have? We have 2. So one must have been a re-release because it's the return of the Great Adventure.
Great Adventure. I think that was. I don't think it was a re-release. I think it was just getting people back in the cinemas from the serials. I think, if I remember right, I think that's always been like that.
Right. So the Great Adventure being returned to another new
Return to a
adventure.
time.
Yeah. And then the one that on the poster that I did this afternoon is Indiana Jones, the new hero from the creators of Jaws and Star Wars. Still not a strong game on the tagline aspects of this, but you know, I'd rather have none than terrible ones.
Harrison Ford seems to be well into this. Like, there's a lot of scenes where you're like, oh, that must be him. You know what I mean? It'd be quite easy a stunt double, like, but weapons and all that. He seems to be well into it.
He learned how to do the whip. He learned how to do that, and he did have a stunt double, but majority of the time he did the stunts himself. There's only certain things that he didn't. I love this bit. You know the bit later on where he's got the guy comes out with a sword, he just shoots him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently, they all had food poisoning and they were all ill. And that was Harrison Ford's idea. I'm just going to shoot him. If you look at Harrison Ford, he's so sweaty and looks so ill. You can tell the yellow were all like food poisoning.
It was meant to be like a fight scene, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it was so ill filming it.
This is a kind of like the whole fighting there is like to me a great nod to that classic like American Western fighting. You know, it's like it is very staged. It is very kind of like you can see a swing of a punch coming a mile off, but I don't know, just something quite comfortable about it. I can like kind of appreciate it.
Here it
I
comes.
don't know.
I don't know. Did you see the stage show, Mason, when you were in America? Because that was on for a long time.
Oh, Universal?
Aye.
No.
I see how sweaty Harrison Ford looks. He just looks absolutely ill as out. And also the bit where they put Marion in the back of the truck, you know, the Nazi truck, and the Harrison Ford shoots it, yeah? If you watch the truck, it gets blown over, yeah? And you can actually see like a rocket launcher kind of thing to blow the truck over. That's how they did it.
Oh, you mean a piston when it shoots a piston down?
Kind of, yeah. But it's like a launchy thing. Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny because like when the fan drives, there's nothing in front of it, but then it cuts to a scene where there's actually like a street in front of it, like some houses in front of it.
I think one of when I was in the films, going to the video shop, the most trailered film of Harrison Ford was The Fugitive. That was just so hyped when that came out.
Yeah. I never saw that when it first came out. It took a few years before I got around to watching that.
Oh no, there's nothing worse than keeping all your guns and explosives in one van, is there?
It's almost like a fucking Looney Tunes advert. That's gonna blow up.
That can be explosives. So if you keep watching, yeah, he comes out, shoots. Behind him, there's like some houses and stuff behind him there. The next shot, you look, there's like nothing there apart from like just like some block of thingies, and so there's a little rocket launchy thing and pulls the truck over. If I remember right. If not, I'm just bored, everyone.
Nothing worse than a drunk monkey.
Sometimes that's how I spend my afternoon, drinking and talking to a monkey.
I can't drink till it's got to 9 o'clock at night. I start drinking and I always go, why have I started drinking so late? Why can't I start drinking at 6 o'clock? It just, I don't know, get myself in the right fucking tits.
I'm talking about juice, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
I was going to say though, for some reason I just didn't imagine Paul drinking alcohol.
I haven't drunk for years. I'm going to start though, but I haven't drunk for years.
You are 40 now, so you need to like nurse a little.
I forgot about that.
Well, you're past the age 5.
I can't believe, I can't drink spirits. Anyone who sits there and drinks a bottle of spirits is just asking for trouble.
Why would you want to drink Slimer for?
No, not at all. Me growing up, it was naturally like lagers and stuff like that when I'd go out with my mates. But I think once I got about maybe 20, 21, I started drinking whiskey and dry ginger. And that's it. That's been the drink since then. I don't drink much these days, but I could literally just drink whiskey all night and I'd be fine the next day, never get hangovers from it, and it's just a nice drink. But I feel like lagers, stuff like that, just makes me feel ill.
Have you guys ever used one of those smoking things that Belloc was using just there?
Just for
There's one in
smoking.
Newcastle, isn't there?
Yeah, next to Dog and Parrot.
Yeah, I've seen it on the outside, but I've never done it.
And we used to have one of them in Spain when it wasn't for smoking tobacco.
Eesh. Just say no, miss.
Well, the guy here, when I was watching this the other night, I was like, where do I recognise that guy from? And he's actually one of the bad guys in Double Team with Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Oh dear. I'm sure Belloc's been in loads of stuff, that's how I've known. He's my mate, Belloc.
Belloc.
With his French accent.
There's not really
But like 45 minutes in, I would say one of the best things about this film is it's really well paced. You know, it's kind of like it's like it's jumping from scene to scene, but in a quite a nice pace. I don't know if you can see.
You can tell it's a Spielberg film.
Yeah.
You know, one Spielberg film that really always catches me off guard that he did was Hook.
No, you can tell that's a Spielberg film.
But it's just you always forget it's a Spielberg. Oh, by the way, one we have to do is a one-off special, Toys.
Robin Williams.
Aye.
Aye.
That'll be an interesting podcast.
Yeah, I could say I'm down for toys. I think Robin Williams has got I don't think he gets like kind of the. I don't know.
Oh, hang on.
I love that guy.
Hang on.
But he's very. What?
Was this made on Universal Backlot?
No.
Because I remember when I was at Universal, it won't be Universal, will it? I remember seeing some scenes somewhere when I was a kid where they filmed Indiana, but I can't put my finger on it now.
Now, this is filmed in Cairo, that's where all bloody hell for. And when they were filming it, they had actually, you know, like a shot of the city, they had to go around and take all the aerials down from all the TVs. Because obviously in the 1930s they didn't have a TV.
And you didn't have paintbrush to paint it out.
It's got quite a lot of locations though. It's been all over the place. A lot of England, we've got a bit of France, a lot of Arizona, a bit of New York City. Don't know where that was.
That was probably the start when he's in his house. The school.
Yeah. No, I think the school and everything's England. Hertfordshire. That seems to be the school for girls. We see a lot of England, a lot of Arizona.
The only thing I seen Belloc in
Is that Deep Roy? Is it Deep Roy who guy who on Malumba?
I don't know, I just missed him. No, I think it's just a kid.
It's not a kid. Not a kid. That's an Umbalumba. That. Have a look. Someone check that.
You mean the guy from China?
Like the one, like, the
awkward thing in the world.
Person who, like, doesn't get it. A fucking cast until like 20 pages in. Let's have a look.
And there's Christopher Lee.
He wouldn't have been. Yeah. Let's have a look.
I'm just saying it could be.
I mean, it could be, don't get me wrong, but like I said, it's.
I'm just saying no.
What's his name?
Deep Roy, isn't it? Oh no, I don't know. Umbalumba.
I'm sure that'll be what it's under. Well, he's not on the main cast.
Yeah. Well, it was worth a shot.
There are other little people, Mason. You know, they don't always look the same.
You tell that to the casting agent of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory then.
But that's true,
That was terrible music on that. By the Dates.
Oh, the poor monkey.
Poor monkey. Can the dates kill you?
You grasped up Karen Allen, so.
What are you talking about? He had poison on it?
Oh yeah. I must have missed up it when I was looking for Deep Roy. Here come the Nazis again.
Not by like a huge mile, but this is actually the highest rating on IMDb. So this one, 8.4, whereas I believe Temple of Doom got 8.2, and Last Crusade got 8.3, I think it was. So.
What was the fourth one?
Oh shit! Somehow I forget to check that one. I know. Oh, I don't know. Let's have a. I'm pretty sure it's not going to be higher than the other.
Two films came out in 2006. Rocky Balboa and Indiana Jones, yeah? Rocky Balboa was so much better.
Oh, absolutely. The best part about it is that no one actually thought Rocky Balboa was actually going to make any money.
I think they should do a Creed 3 and then leave it like that, I think.
Well, yeah, they're doing a Creed 3, but the problem is, actually it's a problem. It's going to be questionable, but they've got, I forget his name now, who's playing Creed? What do you call him?
Oh, directing it.
Michael B. Jordan, something like that?
Michael B. Jordan, to be honest with you, in my eyes, he's going to get the directing label, but for my opinion, he'll probably have his hand held all the way never really. I don't know. I think like it might be a bit like naive of me to say, but he seems very young. And he's never really shown any like kind of interest in directing, but it almost feels like he's just doing it because he can. Because like I say, if this was a bigger film, if this was like massive big film, no studio would let him direct. So it's almost like they're saying, well, no, for Rocky, don't get me wrong, I'm a die-hard Rocky fan, but it's not like there's a lot of people like kind of investing in it.
It's never been an Indiana Jones pop final, has there?
There is, but it's like you had to buy it from like the Universal Studios or something. It's really expensive.
Kingdom of the Crystal Skull got 6.1. Oh, just
not bad.
Yes, it is.
Not bad. The bit here, you know, the way he has to find the right hole for the pole to go in.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like one of those old-fashioned board games, you know, like you put a stick in to get the marbles around and stuff.
I'll never remember the name of it, but we had a board game like that, and it was very Indiana Jones style. And if you got to the top of the castle, you had a little sword, and there was 3 slots. And if you put it in the right one, a little red crystal would pop out, and then you knew you'd won the game. It was really cool, but I never remembered it. It was so long ago now, I never remember what it was called.
This bit's meant here when the sun comes down to the stack of Ra. But it gets so bright, doesn't it? Like the sun shines right through it. It gets so bright. Great special effects.
Now it would be done with
so
CGI.
just for the record, not to, I don't know, they do look legit, but I could be wrong. But I'm looking at a Funko Pop Indiana Jones 1558, and then there's where he's holding the gold statue from the beginning. There's another one where he's got his sword and something else. That's £15 odd.
Oh really?
But then, to be honest with you, I'm just double checking because it could be custom.
Shipping.
You know?
Shipping, yeah.
Oh, not shipping, just the fact that it might be like a custom made one.
Alright.
You get that.
I've only ever seen one, and it's like one of those 20-inch ones, and that was like an exclusive.
Yeah. Another one I'm looking at here is eBay, free postage. He's got the bullwhip and the gold statue. Yeah. 15, 60 each.
Yeah.
Maybe worth picking a couple up.
Because when the toys came out, this felt like a Star Wars kind of thing, you know, like loads of different characters. There's only a few that had gone out, and it didn't do that well. But when the 4th film came out, they re-released the figures again, and it did really well actually. The toy range, right. 2006.
Right. I was going to say, I don't recall seeing many Indiana Jones toys as a kid, like.
Yeah, like I said, when Crystal Skull came out, they reissued them all, but they looked a lot better. They had like Short Round and Winnie Scott, and they had all the main characters and stuff.
Yeah. They've got those retro ones now, haven't they, as well?
Yeah.
I forget the line of them now, but like they look like from a...
Reaction.
Yeah, that's the one tell you what, like, I don't know what it is, but my brain is just... I know stuff, but whenever I say, like, things that just suddenly, like, go blank.
I think it's because it's a Sunday night, that's why I'm having struggle tonight.
Yeah, it's a bit of must be an old age thing.
Well, I've been painting my bathroom all day, and after the podcast I've got to go and finish painting my bathroom, so there we go.
I'm old, so I'll just be lying in bed with a hot water bottle.
Well, I've done a bit of a fuck all day today, like I'm going to have to do something tomorrow just to make up for it. I've literally just sat around and study fast on.
I mean, you did ride 27 miles today on the bike, like, so maybe that's why you're tired.
Well, you know what I mean. that could be it, like. 29 miles.
But you know the bit.
How sorry far, you know, Paul?
It's
about half an hour. About 29 miles in half an hour. Doing very well.
Maybe 2 hours. The bit before, right at the start, when they were talking about Hitler going around digging up for looking for religious items to help win the war. Do you think that was true?
I don't know if it was to help win the war, but I would believe it based on like knowledge that we have of Hitler.
Because he was doing it.
He was very into his artifacts. He was very into like not superstitious things, but he liked the religious aspect of things.
Supernatural.
So I definitely.
Well, look at Hellboy.
See that.
In Hellboy,
Yeah.
well, no, the Hellboy, the Nazis are all into like, the supernatural stuff as well there. So it must be.
Yeah, some truth to it. I believe that actually, because they're doing like UFOs, when they're trying to make flying saucers and stuff. And zombies,
if you watch a classic film called Iron Skies, you'll know that they didn't really well, when they lost the war, they all went up to the moon to hide.
With dinosaurs.
Yeah.
It's just something that always like stayed with us when watching the film. I should really check it out one time.
No, like I say, it was a weird cat, like Hitler. You know, he had all sorts of stuff going on. I mean, obviously, needless to say, he was a mental person, but like, you know, the fact that he used to inject like bull semen into him, you know, just to kind of, because he thought it was stronger. I think it was doing injection, not doing his ass for, not like yours.
Oh no. Beat it right.
But there was all sorts of stuff like that you would be into, so.
Welcome to the blue screen.
Yes.
It looks good though.
You know what it is though? I was going to say it's forgiven. I don't know. It's like this is where I get like kind of weird with film because I've got a lot of the old school stuff, but then a modern film now, if like if it makes a little mistake, I'm like, fuck it, nah, you shit. Don't like.
You can tell where it goes from like a location to a set, can't you? Like we'll get off souls in a minute when you go in. If you watch it, the bit where he falls down and there's like a cobra in front of him, you see a reflection of like a perspex in front of him, so he doesn't get injured by the snake in case it attacks him.
Yeah. Why there's always gotta be snakes?
I think that's the charm of like we keep saying. I think the charm of like the 80s films is that the special effects are so practical.
Yeah. It's the effort in it, like the amount of effort that goes into it, you can appreciate it.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like with technology now, it's like technology can be so good, it can be really impressive, but when it's not done as good, and it might just be down to the fact that they don't have as much money as some of the biggest studios, but it's almost like if you can't do it well with technology, don't do it because it only hinders.
Yeah.
It only makes you feel like you're out of the story.
If I remember right, I had to get all these snakes from the pet shops and the zoos and stuff in London because that's where they were filming this bit.
Makes sense, and I'm like to say again, so that'll be good to CGI now.
That's it.
Snakes on a plane.
Some of the snakes on that plane were fucking terrible CGI.
Well, the bit before we talk about C-3PO and R2-D2, it's a bit where they find the Ark and when they lift it up. It's on one of the walls. Remember, I can't remember which.
On the hieroglyphics, it's on the one of the totems, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't think you see it unless you pause it. To my knowledge, I feel like it's got to be a freeze frame job.
I'm gonna stand up and go in front of the TV and have a quick look when it comes on.
You get square eyes.
I don't really got square eyes.
That's something weird shit when you're a kid, didn't it?
Like carrots mate, yeah. See the dark.
See the dark, yeah.
That was a World War II thing, wasn't it?
Was it? I don't know.
I'm sure some kid asked a pilot, how can you see in the dark? And the pilot said, it's because I eat me carrots. Help us see in the dark, and it kind of spread from there. See?
I just want that conversation to sound exactly like that. Because I eat me carrots.
That's true. That is true. I'm sure it is. I'm sure I read about it. See, Cole, I can do history also. We had Hitler. We had carrots. Come on, man. What more do you need?
You're not sounding with the confidence so far. You know? Well, that's another, I don't believe that. Just the way you said it, Paul. I like the idea of two people sitting in a plane and someone just saying, can I eat me carrots, isn't it? You know, so I die, that's why I say that. Clearly.
You guys keep talking, I'm going to double check now.
Trying to go and eat your carrots and turn the lights off.
If there was perfect glass there, you can't see it.
In a minute we go, is it fell down yet?
Yeah, he's literally staring at him now.
No,
I don't know if
he's coming swinging down now. Mate.
Oh, no, it's a bit when it goes on the floor, when it actually hits the floor, and the snake comes up, there's reflection. It's when he actually hits the floor.
Because I think I might be a little bit ahead of you. Have a look at it. I'm going to say no. I'm going to say that Cobra might not be the real one.
Oh, it's real?
It looked incredibly stale, and there was definitely no perfect glass.
No, that's definitely real, that, like.
Right, well, I need to go for a quick wee, but it's a brilliant shot. But
it's not Cobra Kai, though, is it?
You know, when they got all those snakes in the zoo, did they ask permission to burn them as well?
I don't know, I don't think any animals were hurt. It's only in a brief scene that snakes in front of with the perspex, like. It's not all of it. Yeah, so Indiana Jones? Yeah? Indiana Jones, yeah. Did you ever play Indiana Jones as a kid? Like swing from like a tree with a rope, and then the tree,
no.
and then the tree bark would snap, and then you would fall to the ground because you use electrical wire from a kettle to swing, and then wind yourself. Did you ever do that?
That doesn't ring a bell, mate. But I mean, if I'd fallen like that, maybe a concussion, maybe I can't remember it. But
that happened to me. I used I found electrical cord. I think it was a telephone electrical. I think it was a telephone wire, and I put on the branch and tried to swing across with a hat on, and it snapped, and I hit the ground and I winded myself. It was only last week.
I bet it was. No, we did have like ropes and that, but like we use rope.
Yeah, but yeah.
You go with rope, don't you? Cause that's how it all goes wrong when you start using electrical wires.
I just remember it. But yeah, I winded myself so much, I was like, I thought I was going to die.
I mean, we did do like I don't even know what you call it now. It was like something in the summer holidays. We went away to different activities. We went on the mopeds. I did, like, unfortunately, swing, like, I literally should have gone around a hump in the field, but I went directly up the hump. I'm gonna say I must have cleared at least about 15 foot in the air, and then it came back down on us. Oh, man, it was so bad. It was, like, literally, and the thing is, I love it, because that was back in the day, where the first aid treatment that I got was walk around the field and walk it off. I was like, what? Like, now when I think back on it, it's like, that's so ridiculous. But, you know, as a first aid, I'd be like, surely you should have checked my leg first. But they literally just picked me up and said, right, walk it off. And I was like, oh, okay.
Definitely
got so bruised that I was getting so many looks, because a week later we went to Wet Wild and I had this massive bruise on the top of my leg, and everyone was like, is your leg alright? I was like, yeah, just a bruise.
Oh dear.
I've never broke a bone in my life, so you know, nothing.
Well, I broke my collarbone, my wrist, that's it.
Yeah, but I think I've had enough accidents that should have prone broken bone, but
Yeah.
I've never officially broken a bone. Yeah.
Hmm? I've got a broken heart, like,
You
but
got break a bone.
we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, hearts are easily broken, unfortunately.
Too many broken hearts in the world. There's a lot of drinking on this film, isn't there?
There's compared to
This is
attempted.
the second scene where she's proven that she can drink a lot more than him.
Saying though, like compared to the second one, because I only seen the second one yesterday again. The second one has loads of action scenes in. This has been very quiet for a while.
It's because me and Cole talking.
I think, to be honest with you, I do agree with that statement, but I also think that one of the things I like about this more is that it's definitely more of a grounded adventure film. So, like, it doesn't have to be, like, action every scene. There's going to be moments where they have to discover and where they have to look and really, like, find things, so...
And where did he get a lovely bloody coat hanger from?
Oh, the nunchucks. Amazing, isn't it? I was like, oh my god, that's going to be, like, a deadly weapon. And then all of a sudden, just a fucking portable coat hanger.
You would actually believe it, wouldn't you?
Is the bit where R2D2 not at the very start?
No, it's up here somewhere.
Because I thought it was when.
I'm not sure if I've missed it, but they're like walking along a wall. Like the camera pans along a wall, and I'm sure it's on one of them, but you literally have to be. I've only ever seen it when I paused it.
I'm standing up now. I'm on my feet. A bit wobbly, like, but have a quick look.
As I say, make sure you've got your cup of tea, mate, just to keep your energy up.
Got me water. Let's have a quick look. On my eyes. It's in there somewhere.
I always thought it was on one of the little podiums, which it was at the start.
No. It's definitely this bit. Around here somewhere. We were just seeing before Mason. As a kid, I got electrical wire and I put it up and I pretended to be Indiana Jones on a tree branch snapped, fell, and I winded myself.
And just for the record, Mason, this is where I die.
What?
Because there's no way I've got the body strength to I'm sorry, like, but I'm just gonna sit in a pit of snakes and just go. I have had it. I had a good one. I mean, if I've made it an hour and 10 minutes into the film, so I think I've done all right.
He did all right getting up there.
You did, alright. I didn't know. Have you ever tried it? What's hard work?
It's hard.
School? I don't have school. No.
Well, like I say, our school was like just a little bit more lenient than it should have been. So it was like one of those things where, like, I would imagine in this day and age, you should have been like pushed to really try stuff like that. But like once you give it one go, teachers were like, right, can't sit over there. You're not going to do it. Yeah,
But I need to wait.
For a bigger guy, I think I was second best in the high jump. I don't know what it was. I don't know what sort of skill set I had, but for some reason, I remember everyone in the class going, oh, no. Because you used to do it where you had to just keep doing it until you knock the bar off. And then once you knock the bar off, you got eliminated. And it came down to like me and one of the first. And it's like, everyone was like, this is interesting. I was a big guy, and he's pretty much beating us all. But it's worth mentioning, it's the only real time I've ever really achieved in sports.
Them fucking Cobras look pissed off, like.
Well, I mean, the only thing the one thing I did, learn, it was a documentary I was watching, and it's the one thing that makes you, see a snake quite a lot, is that someone had done it where they got I can't remember if it was a cobra, or I think it might have been, it was a snake where they forced the venom out, and then they literally put 2 drops of this venom in a vial that had some blood, and literally within about a minute, the blood was just full on jelly. And it was just like, it made you think, fucking hell, that's in your veins and that. No wonder people like die so quickly, because like the veins just turn solid pretty much straight away.
I'm back.
How did you go?
Yeah.
See, the internet will go mental now because he's ripped that skirt and now the ankles.
It gets really jealous. He goes, well, you get this from him, doesn't he? He gets really like, How old was Harrison Ford when he did this? Was it like 39 or something like that? I'm sure it's
34.
Nah.
Why 34? But
I'm sure he was. Let's have a look. Just because it'll put me down. See what Harrison Ford was doing when he was 37.
To what you're doing now.
Let's have a quick look. Let's have a quick look. He was 34 in New Hope.
he was 39.
Oh, no way! Oh no!
You're sitting on your couch with your water bottle and your cup of tea, and Harrison Ford's like kicking ass.
And he's a year younger than us.
I'm only 35 this year. I've still got time.
Oh no!
Hi, but Harrison Ford didn't become really famous till he's like early 30s, or did he really?
It was Star Wars.
Well, he
And that was
seen on American Graffiti. That was before
Oh, yeah.
Star Wars. So that was his first acting role, I think. And he had another thing.
But he only did Star Wars just to help George Lucas do auditions. He was a carpenter at the time, wasn't he? Then he got the part.
Yeah. Again, people didn't really treat him as a proper actor. They were just like,
No.
oh, you're only known for being for being Han Solo.
Harrison Ford.
Yeah, Harrison Ford. But like, it was almost like to say, well, you're not a trained actor. I think that's what it was. Like when people like look at you and say, oh, what sort of films have you done? And it's like, oh, I've done like 3 or 4 films. Not really enough for Hollywood these days.
The dead bodies in here always remind me of Poltergeist.
Right.
Life Force as well. There's a lot of good like realism, but like they're quite scary, like, aren't they? I mean, even that is an image you want to see that as a kid, and just seeing a snake curling around a corpse. It's quite creepy, like.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not as scary as the heads in Ghostbusters 2. In the subway.
Or what about the scene
Winston.
in Beetlejuice when all the dead bodies are on the swinging things? That was always cool.
Oh
I forget what it is now. It's not hell, is it? When they go through the door.
yeah. The bit where like the lost souls are flying around in the doors.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look,
It's not so much
looks like
scary, but it's like definitely like, ooh, creepy.
they look like visionaries, little things and visionaries.
The reflections.
Yeah. You know, he's got a vinyl player. Those are cool these days. I wonder what he's listening to. This scene here and the truck and the desert chase on VHS is one I would watch all the time because it's so great. I love the action in this bit.
So here's the big guy. Every film's got a big guy.
The bald guy.
Yeah.
He's from A Fetus in Pet. And he's also in the Temple of Doom. Is the big guy in the Temple of Doom also.
What, with a big beard?
Yep, that's him. I'll go and get his name. What was his name? Pat Roach. That's him.
Pat Roach.
Yeah, and he played. Oh, come on. He played Bomber in A Fetus in Pet. And then that's him, yep. And he's that's him there. There's the Nazi.
You don't recognise him at all in that place.
Apparently he used to be a wrestler, but he's also back on Temple of Doom. He's the guy with the big beard.
I could say, in the era, he's probably getting a lot of roles like that, and he's like a big statured bloke.
Only three things are Norman, really. Oh no, wait, was he in, good look. He's 6'3", like.
Yeah.
He's in Willow. He's a general.
Willow.
Yeah, he's in Willow. I love Willow. He's in the Bill.
For that series to come out as well.
He was also in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. As one of the bad guys. The detectives. Space Precinct. Didn't it do this live in America in the Hollywood show? Didn't it? The airplane, the stunt thing.
I saw one in America that didn't have the airplane. It had there was the boulder.
Yeah.
A layout for that, and then they had a bunch of almost like this type of fight scene, basically just without the airplane.
Because I think it was two, wasn't it? It was the one that you said, and I'm sure it was this one also.
Yeah. I would imagine, given the timeline, the one with the plane was probably like one of the first ones.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I'm talking about like 2002, 2005, so we're still doing it at that point.
Oh my god, the Dino player had the old RCF nipper on it.
Yeah.
Sticker. Everything. Doesn't give up, big, does he? That Roach. They said I just love the punch noises, so you go douche. Really good.
You got to feel the effect.
And the bit, like you said, the bit where he keeps punching him, keeps punching like Indiana Jones, and then he has to go. Little blood, but doesn't do much.
Harrison Ford's great at selling it, but here it should be just a big blip.
That's got to be like one of the worst ways to go on.
I'm waiting for the Spielberg edition to come out, where it's got all the blood and gore in it.
A bit of splatter on the old Nazi sign, that's all I need. Never get why, like, I'm not saying you are, but like, I was having a massive debate with someone online about the Mortal Kombat trailer, and then someone was said, oh, it's a shame that it wasn't gory enough. I was like, well, first off, it's a trailer. Second off, you see a guy get his arm torn out of his socket. Oh, but you didn't really see much, do you? I was like, what do you want to see? You know what I mean?
Are you causing fights again?
Oh, not at all, mate. Just another hour of Carl's opinion. Just seems to be that 2001. It's kind of against everybody else's.
Truck? What truck? Love this bit. Like I said, my VHS would just stop wearing out now because I've watched that many times.
A lot of extras, like.
I was going to say that would have. I wonder if it was one of those things where it's like, if you want to be involved, Well, yeah, because to be honest with you, I was watching it was one of those little mini interviews on YouTube. It was Simon Pegg, and the bit when they're doing the "Don't Stop Me Now" scene.
Yeah.
In Shaun of the Dead. So the scene where you say all the hands on the window and stuff like that, they literally had to pay them. So every single person you saw got paid £1. It was ridiculous. It was like loads of fans were coming out to see what they were filming, and then I turned around and said, "Oh, if you want to be in the film, we can pay you £1. All we want you to do is basically stand up against this window and just like pour your hands over." And I was just like, "That's mental, because that's what a lot of people tend to like say to us when Downton Abbey was being like filmed, or saying, "Oh, did you not get like a scene in the background?" I was like, "No, no, like there's unions."
There's unions, extra, it's extra work, aye.
Yeah.
God, I love this theme. Desert Chasers. I love this theme so much.
Yeah.
This is where I would die in the film.
Ride a horse.
Going down a hill on a horse. I'll be straight over, head first.
Was that Harrison though? I can't quite tell. He's done a really good job of hiding his
Probably
face
not, no.
to the close-up. Nah, not when they're running down that hill. Nah,
No.
unless he was really good.
Well, one of the stunt guys is actually the, you know, the guy who starts driving the, he's on in the sand, I'll tell you at the end. I love this, it's so fucking mint. Listen. Oop, out the door.
You can't be trained how to do that, right? We're going to go along the road and chuck you out. It's just like, right? Expendable.
Yeah.
That's one of the toys I
Imagine
wanted.
the offer though, can't you? The offer would be like, do you want 1 day's work? We'll pay you a canny fee. We're just not quite sure how it's going to end. We'll chuck you out of the van. We'll do it as careful as we can, but like I say, there's only so much you can do when you get chucked out of the van.
That's one of the figures I wanted was the Nazi truck, this truck scene.
Random guy who looks through the window, like shocked.
Then they both laugh and I can just move the window, at the door. It's awesome.
Zoom.
So all the toys in the world for you wanted a Nazi truck, did you?
From the start. So can we create this?
I think I've got it, I don't know. No, I think I do. I think I've got it Indiana Jones on Laserdisc, actually. One of them. I think I do. I'll have to go and have a look after this.
What would you?
Oh.
I know you've both seen them. I've never really invested any time in Laserdisc. Would you say the quality was quite good?
It's one step ahead of VHS.
Right.
It was still analog.
Still a little bit under par from DVD then.
The thing
Oh, that does not look
is
very good, that. Oh, the guy's going off the cliff. Nah.
Saying that Laserdiscs, the sound was digital or stereo, but the video was still video. It wasn't digital. But that was alright.
Right.
I wouldn't say it's the greatest, like, but
Yeah.
it's good for the time, for collectors.
Artwork's class on Laserdisc.
I'm not saying it's all about the artwork in it. Like,
Yeah.
it's like vinyl, and it's all about, most people do it for the artwork opposed to the actual product.
Oh, there's some proper hard falls there. Like, the stunt guys are fairly getting a hammering in this.
Yeah.
This is the main stunt guy here. The one hangs up and shoots him. Hangs, if I'm right. No. The other guy who comes out is the main stunt guy. In a minute. They look all the same, these Nazis. The one where his hat blows off. On top of the roof.
He's kicking someone off the door on mine.
Oh, because he looks
No,
like
I mean,
he looks like Paul Hogan. Him.
That's not a bullet, mate. This is a bullet. I think he was more concerned about his hat falling off.
There you go, his hat just fallen off.
Oh god, it gets through so much pain.
Tell you what, he's got so much strength to chuck somebody through a fucking window from a sitting position next to him.
Right. Yeah, we'll go.
Interesting, man. Oh, what a dick move. You can't be punching someone in a bullet wound.
The bit where Indiana Jones got underneath the truck, yeah? They filmed that slowly, yeah? And if you look underneath the truck, there's actually like a track already built out. they've already dug out, so it doesn't get any damage to him as much. You
Right.
watch it, especially towards the say it now. It's like so it looks like it's going really fast, but it's not. But then it's like a little trench dug out, so he doesn't get injured.
Oh, I mean, come on, getting dragged across that gravel though.
And fucking ass rash and a half in it. I can see the ditch, like a little trench.
I learned that from a physiotherapy from like 10 years ago. No, 17 years ago. No, 20 years ago. Jesus Christ.
That guy did not know how to sell a fucking turnbuckle hit there, like.
Sure, bud. Squidgy squidge.
Oh, he falls to the side of the road. That's
Yeah, it's both. It's like perspection. But is it what's it called?
false perspectives. False perspection.
No. Is it perspection?
Aye.
Where the cow's in front of you, but it's really far. Because it's small. Oh, I'm the right mate. They got me.
Well, you're the one kicking out the big words. I mean, fucking hell.
Just say it looked really far away for, but it wasn't.
Yeah. Oh no. Down to me in the field. There's a cow.
Now they do this spoof again, and then is it the third one when
Yeah.
they chuck him in there and he gets kidnapped away?
Then it goes do 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 do. It's like little Nazi march. I think when he throws the melon and you hear a dog go.
I like how they were all perfectly prepared for that to happen. So that
Yeah, 'cause,
little garage.
And well before the days of mobile phones.
Pigeons.
You gotta like the fact that they have the audacity to say, let's see if we can sell some melons. Quick. They've got the money. You can probably stay like in places like Tunisia now. Like I think there's you can literally stay in Skywalker's home in Tatooine for like next to nothing. In Tunisia. And so
It's probably been graffitied.
see all these buildings still. The problem is just there's nothing there. It's literally like I think something like I think it worked out something like £15 a night in their currency. But
I think
it's just like nothing there. You literally get there and go, right, this is where it was, and then that's pretty much it. So you don't
I think
die hard to do it.
during the prequels, it went back, didn't it? Did a little bit more villagey thing to it. So I think there's some newer stuff there. But you're right, yeah. It's probably graffiti as hell.
I don't know, did they use it in The Last Skywalker?
No, they used it in
Not The Last Skywalker, after when you shoot there at the very end, but I don't know if that was just a set piece that they built.
no, they're using Revenge of the Sith, didn't they? More than anything else when Obi-Wan hands over Luke against again. That's what he says.
Well, Spielberg's back on the water.
He's what?
Back on the water. He said he would never film again after Jaws, didn't he? All the water scenes.
Alright.
Right.
I thought he started drinking or something.
Well, you can see, back on the counter, Bob.
I love this bit with the mirror just smacks him in the face. Did you say something?
No. With his fucking teeth rolling down his face.
She just once gets close to him, he's in so much pain and agony. You know what I mean? He's just done, and he just wants to sleep.
Ooh. He's had a bit of a rough day, hasn't
We're talking to me. I was talking to my uncle the other day, and he was getting, because I hadn't seen him since I've been in New Zealand, And he's like, oh yeah, I remember when my brother went. And I was like, all right. He says, he paid £10. I was like, when did he go? And he went, oh, he went in the 70s. And he says he got on a boat. And he went to every dock. And it took 8 weeks to get there. I was just like, fucking hell.
See, there'll be, I don't know, that like, I don't know if that would be a nightmare or like it would be a great adventure.
The next great adventure.
Just go on like this wild adventure where you're gonna like, because you wouldn't get up, would you? It's not like you get up at every dock unless it's like, say, oh, you've got like an hour. So you'd literally only be like stopping and starting.
Mate, if you see those like wicked tunas and those people go fishing, leeway, the seas are so rough.
Hmm.
No.
Unpredictable as well, do you know what I mean?
And then, who's going to see it? Aquaman.
Nah, he's too busy doing an aftershave advert.
Honestly, man, I've never seen someone's torso so many times in 4 hours. It's disgusting. This is a bit of supernatural powers. Bunch of little rats. Splinter. Oh, look, going back to those Indiana Jones figures, they were Nazi officers, but they weren't classed as Nazis, they were just classed as officers, if you know what I mean. They had to drop all the stuff on it. It was so funny.
Well, they've done that in a lot of different things, haven't they, where like the uniform is very like SS, but they don't put the swastika on. They just the same stuff, yeah.
But you know what it was. You know what it was.
Oh, I mean, you knew exactly what they were getting at, definitely. But then again, like, that's also like probably a mixture of that generation that didn't need everything spelled out to them.
Jonesy. I don't know him. Jonesy. That's the real Winston impression for the Indiana Jones 4. Just wait till we get into that.
That's going to be going to start off great, and it's just going to get sinister by the end of it, I think.
Yeah.
It's going to go on Carl's new podcast, isn't it? That and Wonder Woman 84, I bet.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously...
Was it that bad?
It's how I get the aggression out, no? I just
Predator.
find the biggest pile of shite and... No, I don't think it's not about like the negativity of it. It's about like kind of, I don't know, just acknowledging, you know,
Was it that bad?
They did wrong. Because at the end of the day, I don't like the thing with films like that is like, say with Wonder Woman, it was just it's a mess because you know they're trying to get one message out, but it just doesn't land, and then when people sit there and go, oh, well, no, it's a great film, it's like, well, what makes a good film? The story, the acting, well, the acting was shit, the story was all over, oh, but it's still good, it's like, well, why? And then people don't really have an answer for it, so like, for me, I don't dissect films, but I do, if someone says something great or something shit, I do want to kind of ask why they think it that way.
She looks so cold.
Yeah. That dress is just sticking to her body, like, isn't it?
Does that stick to yours? When you wear a dress?
Aye.
It's alright, look, so it's just me.
I like wearing dresses. It's comfortable.
You ordered a different type of sticky though, Paul.
You know the guy who comes down, the captain guy in the submarine, it looks like Harrison Ford, but it's not Harrison Ford, it looks like him.
I'm sure the captain of the ship, he's been in a James Bond film.
Are you not thinking of the guy from Alien, who just died recently?
Oh, the guy with the weird name, he's Calypto or something like that, he's in Running Man.
Yeah. Now, I've got a question here. That's my favourite bit is like, Harrison Ford runs around, yeah? And then he jumps on top of the stand thing, and it just turns around a few times, doesn't know what to do. What do I do now?
Well, how do you get in?
What do I do? Do I just stand there?
I mean, what happens if they die?
That's what I was about to say. That's what's so confusing. Unless I think they just keep the antenna up, I think. Skull Island. Yeah, no, you're right. Do you think these are Nazis, by the way? Someone's giving it away. I don't know what it is.
Got the big
Maybe
flag.
Maybe it's big flags everywhere. Yeah. I never really noticed it until now.
I mean, he got on the ship, right? He never got seen for God knows how long, and then he gets spotted straight away as soon as he's off it.
No, he just grabs the guy, doesn't he? He just ting dong, like a few punches. The poor guy's got a family and everything. He's lost money and sick there now.
It does have that, like 70s look to it, but it's an 80s film, isn't it?
It's
Yeah,
now
it's 81 in it, so we're still probably going to have a lot of like the 70s tropes and that, definitely.
now it kind of looks like a war film.
Yeah.
Everything that's going on.
Yeah.
Like, like Great Escape kind of look like a end of the 60s kind of
It's just
thing.
like the
70s.
colour. It's like the colour tones. You can tell it's film.
That's it, yeah. I think just because it does such a good job on the sets and the costumes.
Yeah.
Now we just went down to a fancy dress shop probably and just rented them.
But they've done some, like I mentioned earlier on, obviously with the location, but they've done some really good like coverage, haven't they, in terms of like locations.
Yeah, they said now you
Globe.
I mean, that's a
now
fucking.
you're thinking what.
I mean, that looks like a real submarine in the back. There might be like no fake in that. That's a real submarine.
Yeah. I mean,
Sure,
the black guy
gorgeous.
who's wearing the black coat and the black hat, he didn't do his research, did he? Oh, well, you can't come to the desert wearing all black.
I don't know why, but it's still more. All you mean is hello.
I know, right?
Just with hello. You know, the TV show.
Hello.
René. For French and the Nazis. René. Hello. Good morning. Hey. No, this is very religious now.
Oh, bless him! You can see why he's had his head shaved there.
I just thought he was bald. Is this the canyon from the New Hope of R2D2?
I mean, he's just up there with a fucking bazooka.
You know what I mean, Carl?
Yeah, no, I'm trying to figure it out, but yeah, I haven't seen any sand people, so probably not.
That's because the walk side by side.
Well, it is set in Tunisia, so yeah, I would say it's likely, but I mean, there's a chance that George just turned around and said to Steve, like,
I'm sick of Star Wars.
where you can do stuff, and
Yeah.
so I would say, yeah, I'd probably say definitely likely.
I'm going to double check.
Just say Tunisia. I looked at locations earlier on, unless it.
It seems like a book a holiday for 2022.
I don't know, like,
Yeah.
it happened a couple of scenes ago, but like the guy, like obviously the guy talking with the white Ferrera, Federa,
Belloc.
was a fly that just literally showed.
It does, yeah. It does. Yeah, you're right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
It's on his lip, but like he makes
Yep.
no effort, to, like kind of blow it off. I suppose he couldn't really unless he wanted to blow the take. But still, I'm not like going to willingly let something fly in my mouth just for a take. Like,
He's the thought actor, that's why.
well, this is why I'm not. He is. He's fucking getting on big bucks. Let me contract. I don't qualify. So why did that? No rhymes in it. Now, what do you think of? It is annoying, and I know it's a joke, but it's kind of true in some aspect of it. Like in The Big Bang Theory. Now, I didn't watch this very religiously, but there was this scene that I was told to watch because obviously I love Indiana Jones, and they make a big deal of like he shows his girlfriend this film, and he loves it. Sheldon, if you know the characters, and then like he was like, "Oh, so what did you think? What did you think?" And like she turned around and said, "Oh, it's all right." But like Indiana Jones contributes nothing to the film, and like there's literally a whole episode where they're trying to figure out what Indiana Jones does that helps, and he does nothing. Like literally everything that happens in this film, like the Germans still get what they want and still get to where they need to get to. It's just like
I can just stop that right there. If it wasn't for Indiana Jones, they wouldn't have found the Ark. He actually showed them where it was, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
So he did contribute to it.
well, okay, alright, he helped them then because
There we go.
bad guy get it.
See, there you
So
go.
as a hero of the story, he didn't actually do much to stop them, because even in the end, no spoiler, he didn't stop them at the end, did he?
He's never going to stop him anyway. He's just going to get it, take it back home. He was just doing what they're going to do. Really. So yeah, he actually showed him where he actually found the Ark. So he actually contributed to the film. So stuff you Big Bang Theory.
I think the argument was he didn't contribute in a positive way, Paul. Yeah, he contributed, but he contributed in a way that helped the bad guy. So as the hero of the story, what good does he actually do? And not much, to be fair.
He brings it back to London, doesn't he? Or America, or wherever it is. Not Area 51. All those years was Area 51, wasn't it?
I don't believe there's such thing as Area 51.
Here it comes. The chest is alive.
Oh, I've got the spirit on my screen.
We're drinking.
Bit of smoke and magic. I mean, that's got to be a set, that.
It is. Okay, it is. Yeah.
What for are you for?
I'm old and tired, man. Oh.
And then
Yes,
So, I mean, given the day, it looked good, like the whole spirit in that, and like her face turning from a woman to a skull, I think it still holds up. Like
these spirit, especially if you see Highlander, the end scene of Highlander when there's skeleton demons there, they look terrible.
yeah.
It's also raw
This is
smoke,
one of those
isn't it?
films where I mean, I don't own a 4K TV or a player, but I think this is one of those films that might actually really benefit from 4K if it's done right. And if it's Spielberg, he might do the same thing he did with Jaws, which, if anything, should really help.
You know the bit where his head blows up? Didn't have to like put a bit more light in front of it because of the rating, because it was so horrific. Shouldn't have had to do a lot
I
more.
don't know.
Yeah, had to put a bit more light, like a bit more flames in front of his face. But it's amazing, though, isn't it? Look at melting faces and stuff. It's like there's like scanners. The head blows up.
I just watched that for the first time, probably, I think, last year. Again, one of those, it was going through a phase of watching films that I feel like I should have watched when it came out.
Would you guys opened your eyes and looked? I would have.
Totally, yeah, why not, you know?
That's where Carl dies.
No, that's the thing. I can say that with ease now because I already died. I died in a temple, mate. I didn't get out of snakes. I would never have figured out what they figured out to get through out the side door.
Never ever died.
I don't know, but when would you have died in this film? Or
The
would
very
you still be
start.
alive?
Nah, the very start.
No, you don't give yourself enough credit, mate. Nah, go to Washington DC.
I would have tripped over something and got crushed by the ball.
I don't know, you might have not made the fight with Bomber.
Definitely not.
I feel like you would have had your fate met with those propellers.
I would be singing the Auf Wiedersehen Pet song.
What a distraction.
Yeah. We're back with Porkins now.
A random guy in the background just sitting there looking interesting.
It makes you wonder like what that conversation was. Like, can you go and stand in the background, just hold your hand? Don't say now, don't do now. Just stand there.
That'd be a long time because that's a lot. That's a big ass camera move. That.
Yeah. But then again, it's likely that he would have just been a cameraman or someone, wouldn't he? Would have just been a case of, oh, we want an extra body, can you go and stand over there? Put him in a suit.
That staircase reminds me of Untouchables. Right at the end.
It doesn't look real, does it? I know it is, but like that, like to me, feels like it could have been a screen. Like the top of the screen, like ever so slightly blurry.
I think they've just cleaned it all up for it. I know what you mean. There is some edge. There is some edge enhancement there. Like you can tell.
Yeah.
The focus is on them.
Oh, aye, it's fucking well soft and.
Yeah. That's definitely bad. I never noticed that before. Area 51. So that's the only good thing about Indiana Jones 4 is that it's Area 51 where they kept the ark. And I like that little Easter egg. And that was it.
Yes, this is where he's swinging, isn't he?
Yeah. And the truck smacks into it. Area 51. All for 30 odd years.
And it's
Obviously
still
that's...
The ark as well appeared briefly in The Last Crusade on the wall as well.
Yeah, because he goes, oh, what's this? He goes, oh, that's Crusade. He goes, hey, Sugar. I'm sure. And then the music comes on, or the arc music. Obviously, that's like Mayhem's, isn't it? It's all the Parsons.
that's all the undelivered packages of 2020.
I'm still waiting on my Turtles vinyl, man.
Told you.
Yeah, I could see you were expecting that last week, weren't you?
Yeah.
We not got tracking on it.
It left America 4 days ago, apparently.
No.
Go Ninja.
Mine who have come from America has done that before. Like, it takes a minute to get like from America to here. But then I think my turtle kind of still like sat in like Manchester for like a week. I mean, if you go by what the package says, I'm guessing it was delayed. But like literally, I was like sitting there going, "It's been sat in the same place for a whole week. What's it do?"
So yeah, Ben Burt, he did the sound design. He was in he did Star Wars also. So how many snakes would you give it out of 10?
Snakes. Overall, I want to say I'll give it 8 out of 10 snakes.
Nice.
It's a great film. Pacing's awesome. Music's brilliant. Story's enticing enough. There's not really much wrong with it. I would say, like, I don't know if it's like my favourite film of all time, but for the series, it's definitely up there. So I think it could be a 9, but I'm going to say safe and go 8 out of 10.
No, nice.
Is it me? I would probably only say 6. 6 snakes.
What?
I know it's an icon. It's honestly, God, don't get us wrong. It's an iconic tune, and it's a great collaboration by Spielberg and that. But like, there's not enough like action in it for me. And that, I mean, I think Temple of Doom was. I think I would probably give Temple of Doom an 8 because of how scary and intense it is and how colourful it is. This seems to. It's just as I say. This is like. This is not a franchise yet. It's not wanting to be a franchise. It's a great entry, and it's a great foundation. And Harrison Ford's brilliant in it. It's just there's just no final battle or anything like that. It's a little bit weird, and then a few of the effects haven't aged that well. So 6.
I would agree with that. I would say that that's the reason why I might have said 8. And now that you said that, I would say that because they all stand out as their own type of like adventure film. So for me, yes, like Temple of Doom is the action film, whereas for me this is more the adventure film. So I feel like that's why I feel like it worked. But you're right, if there wasn't another one, would it stand as an 8? I would have to think on that one, but yeah, I agree with that.
Alright. I'd give it a good old 9, because I love it.
You're going 9.
I'm going 9. It's probably top rated so far this year. Just, it's one of those films.
Probably higher.
I just love it. I said it's like 2 hours, and it doesn't feel like 2 hours. There's loads of action for me. There's supernatural. There's religion. It's got a bit of everything, to be honest. Like, but yeah, I give it a good old 9 snakes.
9 snakes.
Have we given it 10 out of 10 yet? I don't know if we have.
We've had some.
10 out of 10 so.
Well, I have. I have anyway, but I can't remember what it was.
I can't remember if I've given it 10.
It was a Predator.
Yeah, probably. Alright. But I mean, like I say, it's each to their own, and I think, like, when it comes to films, it's like, I love the diversity and what the people say in a film and what I say in a film. I mean, let's be honest with you. I mean, Coming to America 2 was just, I mean, it was terrible. But some people actually like it, so, you know, it's fair enough.
Whatever.
Those people are terrible, and they need to get out.
Oh,
It's absolutely dreadful.
Just a little dig there, everyone, at Mr. Mason. Although I would say that's definitely a good, that is a good podcast that we have, Mason. An open forum discussion. You know, is it really that bad?
Well, no, we said we'll do it. We said we'd do it, so we'll try and get Indiana Jones done as well as these podcasts as well. But for now, thanks for listening. Goodbye for now.